Hello there, my name is Stallone-Obaraemi Samuel. I want to tell you a little story. Many years ago, after I left secondary school, my father, I love him so much. If not for him, it would have been difficult to really get on with life. He was someone that never pampered me, none of my siblings. In fact, we were sometimes, our fathers or parents will treat you in such a way that sometimes you begin to ask yourself if they actually gave birth to you. He was really firm. And then in his own right, he was successful to a large extent, according to the level of knowledge that he had at the time. I give it to him. And when I had the news that he's been hit by a car and that he was dead, I broke down. I never knew I was going to break down that way. Yes, everybody, we all, whether we like it or not, we all know that someday our loved ones will probably pass on, will probably die. But, when it hits you, it does hit you. But the reason I'm telling you this story today is basically because, after I finished secondary school, my father called me and then he told me that son, I know you're very intelligent, you're very brilliant, but from what I gather, going to the university is very expensive. And I do not think that I have enough money to see you through university education. And so for that reason, you will not be going to the university. That was the reason my father gave me. And I was quite young, I was in my teens, right? So, I said, okay, fine. I didn't like it, but not like back in the day, not like we had much choice or options. We didn't know much. There was no internet, no phones, no cell phones like we have today, at least here in Nigeria. So what happened was my father then went to enroll me with someone, a brother and a friend, a family friend, who was into the repairs of fridges and air conditioners. So my father wanted me to become a fridge and air conditioner technician. I don't know what to call it, but that's it. But that was never what I wanted to do. But I didn't have the guts to say no to my father. So I started learning. But let me leave all the long story short. I didn't last for 6 months. I think it was about 6 months. And then one day I went to the shop late, and then the most senior apprentice said, why did I come late? I was trying to explain. He said he wasn't going to listen. You know how apprenticeship is. And he said I should go down on my knees. And then he brought a cable out. I wanted to use the cable on me. As a teen, looking at where I grew up, I wasn't going to take that. And so I also pulled out my belt and I said, if he tried anything, I was going to deal with him. Not like I was strong enough to deal with him, but I was determined. I wasn't going to kneel down. I wasn't going to go down on my knees. He said if I wasn't going to go down on my knees, then I wasn't going to get into the shop. Needless to say, that was the end of my apprenticeship. But I didn't go to my father's house. I had to run to my grandmother's village because I had no guts to go back to my father to say, after 6 months, after spending all that amount of money, I learned for only 6 months and that I was gone. I couldn't go back and tell my father that, So that was what happened. But long story short, back and forth, I then came back. Somebody saw me, brought me back. Came to tell my parents. My mother came, talked to me. We went back home. My father, we all came back. And then I went to technical school. Long story before. I went round and round and round. But in the midst of all of this, I knew I needed to do something for myself. I remember my uncle will always laugh at me, will always, kind of tease me that with all your intelligence, you've become an artisan. I didn't really know the meaning of an artisan, but for me, he was saying in a derogatory way, so I couldn't take it. But my uncle didn't know that he did something good. He kept pushing me with those words until I couldn't stomach it. I couldn't stomach that place, and I felt like I needed to move. But then, for me to be able to get into school, I had to get a bike. My father had a bike then. I came from a very humble home. I had a bike. I had to teach myself. I think my father taught me a couple of times, but then I had to really teach myself how to ride a bike. And then I eventually I had to, in those days, you can get a bike from someone, an owner, and then you ride, and then you come back and you give him some money and you keep some. That was how I started until I eventually got my own bike and then got a second one. I think I rode a bike as, what we call in Nigeria, Okada, for about 7 to 9 years, until I think my second year in the higher institution. Yes. So that was, I was hustling, and then with the money I was also buying my GCE forms, reading, failing the examinations. But one thing kept me going. My father would always tell me that if you copy in the examination hall, you're a thief. So that kept ringing inside of me. And so each time I go into the examination hall, I will resist the temptation of copying or taking something from copying or taking papers or cheating in any form. I'll just sit down and try to write everything I can by myself on my own, But I had to sit for the O-level exams like 3 or 4 times or thereabout before I eventually got my paper. So I'm not one of those guys that come out boom, with flying colors, one paper, one sitting, boom, no. So I eventually got my grades, and then I started also buying JAM forms, Polytechnic forms, and sometimes I'll gain the admission. I will qualify for the admission, but I'll have some O-level deficiencies. I'll have to go back and write and all of that. The day I came and I told my father that I'd actually gotten an admission, he was shocked. I didn't give up. I think I have one other brother that actually had to push like me, one of my siblings, So that was how I got into the higher institution and started studying. So I did the Okada thing. I did some menial stuff, carrying of blocks, digging of foundations, doing all sorts, even teaching tutorials in primary, secondary schools, just to make sure I make some money, and because I wanted to go to school. And then through school, it was sometimes my father was going to pay the fees, and other times I'll pay the fees. I kept all through school. So I didn't enjoy the privilege that some people today enjoy, which is more like your parents take care of everything. Or even in my days, I had friends, their parents took care of everything. It was pretty much smooth for them. But in as much as I did not enjoy that, I also enjoyed the opportunity, the platform, the privilege to fend for myself, to face the challenges of life from a very early stage. And that, I think, really helped me in growing wherever I found myself. It was easy. It was easier. It's actually relatively easier for me to blend in, find out what's happening, what's obtainable, or what's obtained, what's obtainable in any setting, and see how I can move. Because from that teenage, I've always been pushing. I didn't have this smooth ride. All right. So in a sense, I didn't enjoy that, but I enjoyed the privilege of building myself, using the circumstances that I faced to build myself. So today the world has changed. We have the internet, we have a whole lot, and this goes to both parents and even those of you that are students already in school, fresh graduates. What can you do on the side, even if you have a job, or you do not have a job, you're job hunting? What can you do on the side using just your phone? And you are going to make some good amount of money. I'm not promising you're going to become a millionaire overnight. No. But what are some things that you can do that can help you? There's a training If you click the link somewhere around beneath or somewhere around this video, there's a training that's going to teach you what to do, how people have done it. And I found this out. Like you know, I'm a life coach and an educator, and I'm sharing this with you. See if it's a fit and if it's something that you can use. All right, if it's something that you can use and it makes sense, go ahead and use it. If you can share with your friends, oh well, fine and good. You do not have to struggle like me or like some other people that actually struggle like me, or even worse. The world is a lot better now when it comes to opportunities. So click the link right now and take your training for free. Bye for now. I'll see you very soon. Again, my name is Stallone-Obaraemi Samuel, and I'm your success partner. My dream, my wish, my innermost desire is that you go on succeeding. Bye for now.